Hi boys and girls, let's have some fun together and draw. Maybe your parents would even like to join in. Anyone in your household is really welcome. This project today is recommended for third graders. Today we will be drawing a chameleon. Let's start with our shapes. I'm going to use a marker so you can see better. Remember to hold onto your paper with one hand, draw with the other hand. The first shape is a circle. Anywhere on your paper, you can use a scrap piece of paper also. Next shape is a dot. It's a circle, but we color it all the way in, so we call it a dot. The next, do you remember the name of this line? Very good, boys and girls. Horizontal. Can we all say that together? Horizontal line. Next line, do you remember that one? Vertical. Very good. Vertical line. Very good. We have one more line. Remember the name of that one? Diagonal. Very good, boys and girls. Let's say it together. Diagonal line. Okay. Then we have our half circles. A U. An upside down U. Looks like a rainbow. A C and a backward C. All of these are half circles. So if we put them together, it would make a full circle. Then we have our angled lines, which are our V's. A regular V, an upside down V, which looks like an A without the crossbar, a sideways V, and another sideways V. Very good. Then we have a slightly curved line. Remember, it is not as curved as our upside down U or rainbow. It's not as straight as our straight line. That's why we call it a slightly curved line. Then we have our lazy S. Our lazy S laying down or horizontally, we call a hill and a valley. And then we've been doing spirals lately, which is just fun. So remember, you start in the middle. Looks like you're going to do a circle, but you go past that point and just keep going around. And remember, they make wonderful snails. That's why they're fun. All right, so those are our shapes. Remember, we're going to do them before every project because it just makes it easier for us to draw. For this project, you will need maybe a few pieces of paper, a pencil, an eraser. If you're using a pencil and eraser, let's remember to write lightly so that you can erase the things that you don't like. If when you're done, if you want to use a Sharpie or other things to color it in, that's great. Let's remember about our chameleon. It's a special animal, right? It can change colors according to its habitat. So when you're coloring it in, I hope that your habitat, your surroundings, look like the same colors you've used in your chameleon. And have some fun. You can use any colors you want, pinks, purples, whatever colors you want. But make sure your surrounding matches that. All right, boys and girls, we're going to get started. So let's remember to have the good habits that we've started at school. We're going to hold our paper with one hand and draw with the other so it doesn't slip around. Now the first thing I'm going to do, remember as an artist, I have to think about my composition. Would I like many chameleons or just one big one? I'm going to draw one big one just so it's easier for you to see, but maybe you'd like a lot of them, okay? Think about what your picture's going to look like at the end before you even start. So I'm going to do one big one like I said. So I'm going to start over here in my left-hand corner, not too close because I would like to do some fun stuff with his tail and things. Excuse me, his tongue. All right, so here's my circle for his eye. Now they have very interesting eyes, so watch how I do the rest of it. I'm going to start right about here and do a half circle around his eye that way. Now remember, this is circular, so all of our lines in here need to be curved. So now I'm going to do some curved lines. See how that makes it really pop? So there's our eye. Then of course you want to do the pupil. I know you guys all have different ways of wanting to do it, where you put a bubble in it or maybe, but keep some light in there so there's a little reflection. So it's not just one dot. It looks a little bit more realistic this way. All right, now we're going to start with the nose. Look at the shape, boys and girls. We go over them every time. Starts right about here, diagonal line. You decide how long his nose is going to be, and then you're going to stop. Make somewhat of a curve instead of a V, and go back. Now his mouth is open, so I'm going to make a little bitty half circle right there, so I'm going to change directions, right? Now remember that the bottom lip, or part of his mouth, is always a little shorter. It's not as long as the top. It makes it easier for them to eat that way, okay? So I don't want to go all the way out there. But here I'm going with a diagonal line. You decide how wide the mouth is going to be open. If I come way down here, his mouth is quite wide. If I go a little more of a tapered look, his mouth is not quite as open. Now remember, I don't want to go quite as far as that, and then as the top. Then this one I'm going to do more of a V, and I'm going to slightly curve it down to where I'm going to start the leg in just a minute. All right, I'll give you a little bit of time for that, boys and girls. If you don't like it, remember, I hope you used your pencil lightly so that you can erase it. Okay, remember we start with the eye, behind the eye, and then these shapes here. Once you finish that, boys and girls, you are going to touch where you started the nose. Remember, when you bump into something, we say, excuse me. So I'm going to say, excuse me to the eye. I'm going to jump over, try to start at the same place on the other side of my eye. It has a little hump right here, so it is just, you decide how tall you're going to make yours. Maybe you don't really like it that big and you don't want to make it that tall. So it's get up to where you think it's going to be tall enough, curve, then curve back down with a line. Then we're going to get ready for this nice body. It's a nice slightly curved line, isn't it? So I've started even in that direction. Do you see how my pen, my marker's already started in that direction? You decide how big it's going to be, right? But I am going to go up a little bit. I'm not going to do a slightly curved line. It's going to be a little bigger than that, or humpier than that, I should say. I'm going to bring them all the way to about there. You see on this picture? We're going to start the tail in just a minute. Okay, so go ahead and do that part. We can go ahead and come back to this leg right here. You can either curve it or come out with a straight line, diagonal line, and then change your angle to a vertical line. I'm not sure which you like better, if you like it more angled or you like it more sweet. Curved. So however you did the first part, you're going to do the second part right here. Mirror image of it, right? This one's going to be a little longer. We'll do the foot in just a moment. So stop right there. So now we can go back to our tail. It really is the start of a spiral, isn't it, boys and girls? So right here, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give my spiral. I gotta hold on to my paper, it's slipping. I'm going to stop right about there. Now, then on the end of that, I'm going to turn that into a sideways V, because again, I'm going to start going in the other direction. It helps me do that. Now remember, the tail is going to be skinnier here, getting a little wider here. So here I'm skinnier. I'm going to try to get wider. Okay, so now I have my tail. I didn't make as big a tail here as I did on this one, so if you like this one better, you're going to drag this line farther down before you start your spiral. But now we can continue the rest of our body, can't we? So first of all, I'm going to hop over here where I started the bottom of his jaw. I'm going to hop over for the rest of his body. A little bit of diagonal line that way, and then a horizontal line till about there where I want to put in his other leg. This leg's a little bigger. Back legs always have a little bit more muscle. I'm going to start in here, do the same thing. And then I'm going to say, excuse me, that leg, hop over and connect to my tail. Okay, boys and girls, hopefully you have successfully done this part. If you haven't, take a moment, erase what you don't like, and redo it. In the meantime, for the people that have done this and are happy with their picture or drawing, we're going to do spikes. So notice the spikes are a V, but they're not a V standing up. They're a diagonal. So right here, I'm going to start right here with my diagonal line. Then I'm going to come back, which makes it a V, and continue that. Now, obviously, you can do them any way you want. This is only if you like the way I did it. And remember, boys and girls, sometimes it's easier to turn your paper and work on it. All right? So you're going to continue these spikes all the way down here, all the way to here. Okay? I'm just going to do that for you so you can remember. I want to move on now. You can go back to your spikes later. I don't want to make the tape so long. So let's talk about his tongue. They have wonderful tongues that are very long and catch their insects and their prey. So if you'd like to do that, it's kind of fun. You're going to do 2 lines out here, right? I'm going to make it nice and long. And their tongues almost are like their feet, which we're going to do in a minute, where it's almost like a suction cup or a thumb and another thumb, where it grasps something. So with knowing that, I'm going to do a U here, an upside down U here. It almost looks like a bone. And then a slightly curve-in line there. And that's how their tongue works. And then, of course, I can decide to make my tree and do some leaves and a bug there so I can catch it. All right, before we go on to that, though, let's finish his feet. So we were talking about how his feet and his tongue are the same way, where they can really grab the branches. Okay, boys and girls? So the first, we're going to start on the top. I'm going to do an upside down U for the top of that toe. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do one little J and then another U next to it. And then it's a slightly curved line in that's going to make it look realistic and that it's really grabbing something when you then put on your branch. Okay, let's try it on the back one, same way. This lower limb has to be a little longer. I'm going to do my upside down U there. Right here, I'm going to do my J and then a U, and then I'm going to close that in with a slightly curved line. Now we know where the branch is really going to hug, right? So I'm going to start right here, say, excuse me, hop on over. I don't want to go all the way to the side because I really want to put a tree up this way, but I do have to make it double. So there's my doubling of the branch. Same thing, I'm going to say, excuse me. It's going to go through his tail, which makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now he's really sitting on that branch and he's really grabbing that branch. But now, as I said, we wanted to do something fun up here. So up comes a branch is going to go here, and this is the bottom of your tree. Now, of course, you can make it differently. This is just the way I did it. Then from here, you're going to want to put some branches and some leaves, right? And keep going up, maybe with another branch, more leaves. So here's your leaves, so that you're going to put a little cute insect there so it can grab that if you want. You do not have to do that. Then, of course, you're going to work with more leaves. Remember, he's camouflaged, so he's in a lot of foliage. Foliage is the leaves that I did. Most of the leaves I did very easily with big, slightly curved lines. And then a slightly curved line in the middle. Okay, if you make lots of those leaves around it, he'll be nice and kind of hidden in there. But remember, whatever color you use here, you really should be using in your background. Okay, have fun, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for drawing with me.